everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Madeleine Thibeaux. I am a recent graduate of Ascension. I graduated just not quite a year ago, class of 2018. I am now a freshman at LSU, majoring in accounting. And Miss Ladd, you totally called that one. Miss Ladd told me my sophomore or junior year that she thought I was going to be an accountant when I grew up. And I was very insulted because accounting sounds like so boring and so like not cool at all. I was hoping she was going to say I was going to be like, I don't know, the president of the United States or something cool, but no, an accountant. And now I love it. So thanks, Miss Ladd. Props to you for seeing that all those years ago. And just a note for every like single one of you out there, like, don't sweat if you don't know what you want to do when you grow up. If you think you want to do something, like, don't sweat the fact that you might change your mind, because you are 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, like however old you are, like you have time. I've had so many adults tell me, they said like, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Like, that's okay. Like, it's fine. Just don't freak out like I did, because then it just puts more stress on you than you need. And I'm here to tell you that it's not worth it. I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about my grandpa. So my grandpa, he didn't sweat the small stuff. That's for sure. He was just one of the most like God-loving, fearing men ever. And I'm just so grateful to have had him as like one of my, real life role models, that I actually got to see him live out his faith. I got to see him love like so strong the Lord, his family, his children, his grandchildren, and he was just so grateful for everything that God gave him. He was born in 1932 during the Great Depression, and after like he finished school, he joined the Air Force, and during peacetime served as a translator because he spoke Cajun French and English, and he moved to Morocco for a little while and learned a trade instead of going to like school for that. And that's how he learned. He became a machinist. And so when he moved back to America, he married my grandmother. He started his own machine company, and he totally kind of lived out the American dream, I guess you could say, in a way. Self-made man completely. He had my mom and my uncle, and by the time he was retired, I came along, and I was the youngest grandchild by 11 years, so I was very spoiled by him and my grandmother. They were so excited to have another grandkid to spoil. I spent God weeks at a time over at their house, and I loved them so much. They were just so much fun. They loved me so much, and I loved them so much. And whenever I was 12, so I was in 7th grade, I lost my grandma, which was, it was really very, very hard. But I still had my grandfather, but it was so hard to see him grieve my grandma, because he loved her so much. And honestly, the beauty of that is that I got to see just this genuine love that he had for her. That would just, even though he was in so much pain, it was real. That love there was real. And like I said, just absolutely beautiful. So whenever you kind of notice those things, take notes of it, because it's really amazing to get to see that in real life. Because I think now we see so much artificial, manufactured like love, like, and then we expect things when we see them in movies. Like, whenever you get to see that in real life, it's really special. So anyways, last year when I was a senior, my grandfather was 85, and he was honestly just like so healthy for his age. I mean, he had those typical like, he had some blood flow issues, but he didn't have cancer, he didn't have any, like Parkinson's, like he was very, very healthy. And he had a surgery in like March of 2018, and so he had kind of like lost his mobility, and he was a very independent person, but so he kind of struggled with that, I think, not having the same independence. Like, he always had to have somebody, for a little while, had to have somebody drive him, those kinds of things. But I saw him on May 5th, and he got up, and he walked around. He came to get me at the door, he walked me back outside, and he was just glowing. Like, he looked absolutely amazing. That was the best I'd seen him look in probably a year, and it was just kind of like, God, I looked at my dad and I said, Papa just looked so good today. And he said, like he really did. I haven't seen him like that in a while. And we watched the baseball game for a little while. He loved the Yankees so much. And so I did get to spend a little bit of time with him, and I was really happy. And so I had just finished up school at Ascension. And for those of you who know me, like pretty much at all, I was very sad to leave Ascension and to graduate. Like, I sobbed, like, from the moment that I got in my car on the last day of school to drive to school, I sobbed while I listened to You're Gonna Miss This, and got to school, got out the car, walked into the front office crying. 8th graders, y'all were 7th graders, so y'all were visiting campus that day for the academic pep rally. I'm sure some of you saw me, like sobbing, like makeup everywhere, just like I couldn't take it that day. Like, I know that sounds so dramatic, but it's true. Like, I was not ready for that chapter of my life to end. And so anyways, graduation rolled around, and we graduated on May 18th, but on May 15th we had like a little celebration in Falls River with all of our friends. And when I got back that night, I found out that my grandfather had passed away from a heart attack. And I was just like, what? I couldn't believe it. I just broke down. I did not know what to think. I did not know what to say. I was just, he wanted to come to my graduation so bad. And obviously, like, he couldn't be there physically. But when graduation day rolled around a few days later, we had the funeral that morning, so at like 11 o'clock. And while I was sitting in the funeral, my mom, she was sitting next to me, she looked at me and she said, God just spoke to me, and I cannot wait to tell you what he said. And I was just like, as much pain as I had, on my chest right then, I was like, like, I felt very uplifted, because God was, thinking of me in that moment, and he's always thinking of us, but sometimes he just really, really shows us. And as we walked outside after the funeral, my mom tells me, she said, God said, it's your turn, Maddie. It's your turn to live out all those amazing things that your grandfather taught you, the things that your grandfather showed you by example, all the things that you learned in the past 18 years, be it from him, from Ascension, from, the people that you surrounded yourself with. It is your turn to kind of take on that legacy and just live it out. And I was like, that totally just changed everything for me, because as like, I kind of felt sorry for myself, because I was like, I have to go through like all of this at one time. Like, I was so excited to celebrate graduating and celebrate an amazing 11 years at Ascension, but I was like, I have to like mourn my grandfather at the same time. Like, what? And it made that day like probably one of the best in my whole life, and I'm just so grateful for that God moment. So yeah, the other day I was sitting in adoration, and I knew that I wanted to talk about this just because super important day for me in my life. Definitely one that I love to testify to God's presence in my life. And the Lord, I was just opening my Bible, and I was trying to figure out, I said, how am I going to connect this, directly to Jesus and his disciples? And I think it's kind of the perfect time of year for this, because I know we haven't gotten to Easter yet, but the Great Commission is, one of that led to the rest of the New Testament, right? So, Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. So I just want to thank you guys for, taking a few minutes of y'all's day to listen to me. If you have a test next hour, you're going to ace it. baseball tomorrow. Go beat the Panthers. I am so cheering y'all on. I know last year whenever y'all won that game when he dropped the ball, I mean, my heart was beating so fast. I'll never forget that. I was so excited. Definitely one of my favorite moments in Ascension sports. And yeah, so go Gators. Good luck with everything y'all have going on. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you to all the Spiritual Life team for allowing me to have this opportunity to get to talk to you guys today. I love you all so much. Good luck with the rest of the school year. Go Gators. And don't forget to always stay gentle, generous, truthful, kind, and brave. Thanks, y'all.